If this is your first Azkarah, or if you have been with us in past months already, you are welcome here. If you are mourning the massive mounting death toll from the pandemic, from COVID, or climate change, or other world tragedies, or if you're mourning one or more personal losses, you are welcome here. If you're mourning a death that was more recent or from long ago, or any or all of these, you are welcome. If you are largely alone with your grief, or if you have a degree of community and company in your mourning, welcome. If you're Jewish, if you read Hebrew, if you've never been in a Jewish ritual space before, or something in between, or none of the above, but you found your way to us, you are welcome here. And we are grateful to be here with you and to share this space for grief and reflection and perhaps comfort together.
So we are going to begin our ritual together by candle lighting. So if you did bring a candle, this is a good moment to go get it. So I'll give you a moment to do that. So if you have a candle, you can bring it and we will be lighting it together. And if you don't have a candle, you can also visualize a candle as we light together. So candles are a symbol of memory in many, many cultures. Candles represent the soul. A single candle, like a single person, can completely transform a space. A dark room becomes completely different when you light a candle in it, just like a person in a space changes that room. Likewise, each flame is different from every other flame, just like each one of us is different. And a flame is ephemeral. It doesn't last forever, just like our lives are. But by lighting them, we bring the light of a soul back to us. So we're going to light candles together. And the other good thing about doing that is it is a way that we can form a community on Zoom. Our flames can connect, and even our imaginary flames can connect. So I will light my candle in my Zoom box here. Say Zikronam Livracha. May all their memories be a blessing for us. And as all of our candles are lit, we are going to take a moment of silence to ground together in this virtual space and reflect on whatever brought us here today. So let's just take a moment of shared quiet. Amen. you and whoever is in your heart today are welcome here. So we are going to learn a text today to mark this first anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic here in our country and the terrible milestone of having reached 500,000 COVID deaths in this country. We are also marking and mourning the many deaths and grief journeys over the past year that were not directly from COVID, but were marked by pandemic, that were more isolated because of pandemic, the many grief journeys that were cut off from each other in terms of the physical presence we usually offer each other in grief, and the grieving that we've had to find new ways to access our age-old rituals and find new ways to comfort each other. So we are going to have some time to discuss some of this communal and individual grief in small groups. And as a launch for that, I'd like to share with you a reading from an article that was in the New York Times a few weeks ago on the particular pain and isolation of pandemic grief. I believe Abra is going to put it on the screen for us. I had never told my father I loved him until he lay dying, body wrecked with coronavirus. Pandemic death is particularly cruel. It preys on the vulnerable. We all hold a collective grief and loss in this pandemic. But what happens when death comes? When the circles of COVID-19 close in so tightly that it wrings your heart? Our rituals of grief are no more. These are now mediated through distance and must emerge in new forms as we feel the cut me to the core pain of grief and isolation, as we see masked coffin bearers revealed over video live stream funerals. We yearn for human comfort, yet we know all too well the excruciating cost. So this was from an article called The Particular Pain of Pandemic Grief. And we wanted to use it as a launch for discussing not just deaths from COVID, but the particular pain of pandemic grief altogether. So as we break into small groups, there are 2 questions for reflection from this we are offering you. And I'm going to read them twice and also put them into the chat for you. The first question is from the line that says, our rituals of grief are no more. So I'm wondering what rituals feel missing for you on a personal or a communal level. What rituals have felt missing for you? And actually, Abra, could you put that into the chat for us? I'm realizing I can't access everyone in, oh no, I can. Never mind. I can get to everyone in the chat.
It should already be in the chat.
Ah,
Oh, I see.
there.
It's in the wrong place. My apologies.
Thank you. I think I just got to everyone in the chat.
Thank you.
So that's the first question. I'll read it again. Our rituals of grief are no more. On a personal or a communal level, what rituals are you missing right now? And then the second question for us to ponder together. We yearn for human comfort. That's a quote from the article. How can we offer each other human comfort, especially to comfort grief in these strange, isolating times? I'll put that in the chat too. We yearn for human comfort. How can we offer each other human comfort, especially to comfort grief in these times? So Abra is going to be, Abra with help from Rabbi Eric Weiss, will be dividing us into groups of 3 or 4 to spend about 15 minutes discussing these questions. You'll get warnings at 10 minutes. And then when there's 1 more minute left to cut that, you'll be automatically sent back to the main room. You don't have to do anything. You'll be automatically sent into your small group and brought back. If you would like to stay with the closed captioning, if that helps you with the conversation, just refuse the invite and you can stay in the main room. Or if you end up in your small group by mistake, just come back to the main room and Nicolia will be in here offering closed captioning. So in a moment, Abra will be sending you into small groups.
Hadass and Hilda, did you want to stay in this room or did you want to go in a breakout room? Let me unmute you so I can hear you. Hadass, what would you like to do?
I'd like to go to a breakout room. I didn't see an invite. Because I switched from my phone. I don't know if I did
Okay.
something wrong, or if it means I have to stay in the main room, that's
three of
fine
us-
too.
No,
I can. Breakout room.
I just sent Hadassah an email. I mean, an invitation.
Oh, because how many people are in the breakout rooms?
About 3 or 4.
You know, well,
But let me.
could you remind me what the questions are?
Our rituals of grief are no more. On a personal or a communal level, what rituals are missing for you? And then from another quote from the article, we yearn for human comfort. How can we offer each other human comfort, especially to comfort grief in these times?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And Hilda, I'll move you to another room also, okay? Hilda, all you have to do is accept the invitation. Did you get an invitation to join room 8?
Yes.
Just say yes, and you'll be moved into that room automatically.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Hilda,
Yes.
it doesn't look like that worked, does it?
No. At least I don't see anything.
Okay, let me try. I'm going to try moving you to a different room and giving you a new invitation. Let's see what happens, okay? Did you get an invitation to
Yes.
move? There you go.
Click on join.
There you go. I'll see you back in a little while. Natan, it looked like you were in a room by yourself.
Yes, I was.
Did you want to be in a room by yourself?
It's fine either way. It looks like the other rooms were laid out the way they're supposed to be. Looks like there are people in this room too.
I don't know. They're both off camera and one of them doesn't have audio at all. So I'm not quite sure what's happening with them.
Okay.
They may have chosen to just have quiet time by themselves.
Yeah. All right. I will mute myself and we'll be in a quiet place and ready to receive others as they return to the main room. Hi, Roseanne. I see you've just joined
Okay.
the main room. Hi. I'm not sure if the other people in the room are participating or just taking advantage of having quiet time. Is there something that what brought you back into the main room? Is there something you would like to talk about or want the closed captioning help?
Well, I was in a breakout room with two other people. One of them is a chaplain who had a lot to say about her experiences with death and dying. And the other one was married to a Jew, and her son is studying to be a rabbi, and she's interested in Judaism as it has to do with grief. And my situation is that my husband died, and I wasn't prepared to talk at such an abstract level, so I decided to leave the breakout room.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit just now about how you're carrying that loss with you, or would you like to just have some quiet time until the program, till other people rejoin us?
Well, will I be imposing on other people's quiet if they're here for quiet?
No, I don't think so. We can treat this as one of the breakout rooms.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I mean, what was on my mind as I approached this was that I live where I can see the water from my window, and I was eating my lunch and looking at the water, and there was a ship out there, and I remembered how my husband knew all about the ships. He would always talk about where they were going and what they were carrying and whether they were full. It just made me cry because it made me think of him. So that's the stage of grieving that I seem to be at, that I just start crying like that.
And what do those tears, what do those tears open up for you?
Well, I just miss him. I just miss him being here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not so aware of it. I'm sort of busy trying to cope with everything.
In a moment like that, it's you and the water and the missing.
Yeah, I had my refrigerator stop working the week before last, and it was such a crisis. And it made me feel much more alone because he would have handled it. And if I were younger, I probably could have handled it more easily. So it's just a tough time.
Yeah. And that is part of what colors what your grief is at this, at this age, at this time in your life, this far out after his death.
It'll be 6 months on Thursday since he died.
Mm.
He was not Jewish, but he was very interested in Judaism. He had a brother-in-law who was Jewish. And we had a military burial because that all mattered to him. I feel as though, and my synagogue did a Zoom Shiva memorial that was very meaningful.
Mm.
So I feel fortunate that there were some rituals that helped.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like during this time, a lot of people have missed out on certain rituals, but we've also had access to each other in other ways.
By phone or Zoom.
Yes, yeah. And that's been important because that's what we have.
Right, that's true.
And we didn't do this Azkarah. Well, we did it in an in-person version, but not like this, not with anyone being able to participate from their home, or even from we've had people parked in a parking lot and in their vehicle somewhere, and in between things been able to join us.
It's really weird. I mean, being in the pandemic is weird by itself.
Yeah.
And to also be grieving during the pandemic, it's hard to really tell the toll that it takes. You know?
Yes.
I mean, when I freaked out about the refrigerator, my sister was sure that a large part of that had to do with the other things that I'm,
Yes.
said about,
So just let you know, I don't know if you're on video or not, but everyone else is, or at least some of the people are rejoining from the other rooms that they were in.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just got on video.
Now you're on video too.
Yeah.
Now I can see you. Hi.
I've seen you at the center in passing.
Yes, yes. Hi. Hmm.
Yeah, I used to go to something called the Death Cafe.
Oh, yes. I think those are getting a lot more attention and participation lately. And it looks like everyone is back with us. So as we come back together, I want to read from a poem by Andrew Elias Raymer entitled Turbulence. And there will be closed captioning available during the reading of this. We don't have a slide for it. I'm just going to read to you. Saturn has entered Aquarius. Old systems will crumble. Since they got the diagnosis, we've been praying like protesters taken to the streets, fists raised, rage contained, crying out for that which has been lacking. Week after week, year after year, church by church, to name by holy name, on bended knees, in temple after temple, mosque after mosque, worshipers beg you for healing. God, you big slacker, aren't you listening? Or were the ancient scriptures right? That we're created in your image, hands like your hands, blood like your blood, cells like your cells, and you, therefore, like us, cannot respond right now because your IV drip is in, because AIDS or cancer is racing through your massive, ancient, crumbling body, because you're battling Alzheimer's and cannot even remember a single one of your many sacred names or any of ours now that you are indisposed, in despair, in dementia. Those the only reasons for silence I can live with. Otherwise, you big slacker, get back to work and answer our prayers, or at the very least, send out a group email, subject line, explanation and apology. First sentence, here's why I put you in a world that hurts so goddamn much.
Thank you. We're going to take a moment now to look at how people are grieving across the country. We've put together a slideshow of memorials from across the country of people remembering those who have died from COVID. Memorials show our love. They claim our value. They give heft and weight to lives that have been lost. And we are just going to take some time in silence to see this love through these memorials. So Abra will share this slideshow with us.
There's a poem, a litany of remembrance written by Rabbi Sylvan Kamens and Rabbi Jack Kramer entitled We Remember Them. And while you remain muted, the slide will be posted, and I invite you to read aloud along with me. And you can feel free to name your person or people who have died in place of the word them as we read. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
We're about to say the Mourner's Kaddish, which is the great memorial prayer in Jewish tradition that is said traditionally multiple times a day throughout history and all around the world. We say this prayer and connect our grief to the chain of tradition, to our ancestors. Natan is going to lead us in a nigun, a wordless melody. And as he does, and we prepare to say Mourner's Kaddish together, you are invited to add in the chat box the name and relationship of anyone that you are mourning right now, anyone who has died recently, who died in years past in this season, anyone who is always in your heart who has passed away. You're also invited to add communal losses, parts of the world that you are grieving now, things that you are grieving, huge world losses that you are grieving, anything that you would like to be saying Kaddish for, people that you feel no one is saying Kaddish for. So Natan will lead us in Nigun and then into Mourner's Kaddish, which will be shared on the screen, and you are invited to fill the chat with those you are remembering.
Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 yai nai yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai 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 nai nai nai. Feel free to continue putting names in the chat box if you wish, but we'll continue with the Mourner's Kaddish, and some people may wish to rise while we recite together as you wish and as you are able. I invite you, whether standing or sitting, to find a way to be a little bit more upright in your spine and in your spirit, and we can read together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach ve'olam u'lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalei v'yithalal shemei dekucha rechu. We're going to need the next slide. We're halfway down now. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata v'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Next slide, please. Yehei Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom mimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. May the source of peace, may the source of shalom grant peace to us, to all Israel, to all who mourn. And let us say together, Amen.
So we're going to take a moment now to say goodbye to each other. So if you're able to, I would like to invite you to unmute for just a couple minutes. And also, if you're able to, and if you're in a place where you can, to turn your camera on. No pressure, but if that feels okay for you, please turn your camera on just so we can see each other for just a minute before we go. And I want to invite you to put a hand on yourself, any place that's comfortable, preferably where we can see it, maybe on your chest. And then take another hand and just put it towards each other so we can kind of see each other, and take a moment to just greet each other. You could say Shalom Aleichem or
Shalom
goodbye.
Shalom
And
Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem.
Be healthy and safe, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Lehitraot.
Thank you.
May you be blessed in being here.
Thank you, rabbis.
Thank you.
And we, on behalf of everyone who helped to put this on today, want to thank you all. I'm going to sing us out with a closing nigun, a closing melody. We'll leave you muted again, but we'll keep the chat open while the music is going for people who want to message each other or to the group with farewells if you wish. Feel free to hum along or to sign off when you're ready during the Nigun. And we'll close the meeting right for everyone right after who's left after the music ends. And we just want to say, I want to say, L'chul Shalom. Go continue to journey in peace. May you go on with a measure of light and comfort and shalom. Ya la la ya la
Louise, I want to say what a wonderful conversation we had. And there's a lot of warmth and a lot of happiness because of our ability to spend a few minutes together. So I hope that you're feeling that as well. And I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And warmest to Roseanne. We miss you and hold you.
Thank you for this beautiful service.
Welcome.
Thank you for arranging it and how you arranged it. It was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for having this and just allowing us to have the space to together just be quiet, to sing, to remember. It means so much. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to my group too for being just kind and open and caring among people we've never met or known. And I just wish you all well and peace and comfort. Thank you.
Thank you, and goodbye from New Hampshire. I feel very grateful for this lovely time. Very special. Thank you.
Thank you from New Hampshire and from all the places that you joined us. Even being on the move.
Yeah, someone's in a bus. Wow.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry for everybody's loss. Take care.
Thank you for welcoming me and the comfort I experienced.
Thank you.
To close down the room, but thank you all once again for all that you shared and all that you brought to everyone who's gathered here today.
Thank you, rabbis, for your kindness always.